Now that we know all the different features that are in a river, rocks, holes, waves, eddy lines, and eddies, we need to be able to read the water in a way that we can get through all those different obstacles from the top of the river to the bottom. But we're not going to do it in an entire river at once. We're going to do it rapid by rapid. And we don't even have to do the entire rapid. What we really want to do is we want to break down a rapid into its smallest components, the easy bite-sized pieces, basically. So how do we do that? Well, we're starting out in an eddy, aren't we? We're looking downstream, and what we're going to be looking for is the next good eddy we can stop in. That next eddy is our target. So we've got from our eddy to the next eddy. Now what you're trying to do now is find a line that's going to get you from the eddy we're in to the next good eddy where you want to stop. One thing to know about a rapid is there's almost never just one line between where you are and the next eddy. What you need to do is know what you're good at. Are you good at doing S-turns behind rocks, pulling into eddies behind rocks? Are you good at going through waves, or are you good at jumping over holes? Basically, once you know the answer to that, you can pick a line or pick a variety of lines to get to that next eddy. Let's start with the easiest possible way from where you are to the next eddy. Usually the easiest way is to follow the fastest current. You can identify the fastest current. Number one, if you look downstream, usually you'll see waves. Waves usually identify the fastest current. Another thing that you will see that will help you identify the fast current is a V. Not only does it identify the fast current, the V is usually created by water going in between rocks, and it pretty much always points the direction where you want to go. Now the beauty of a V is anytime you see a V, you know the water is deep, and you know the water is moving. So step one, when you're in the eddy, look downstream. Do you see the V? Do you see the current all the way between you and the next eddy? Step two, is there any obstacles you may have to go around? Are there any holes or rocks? If there are holes or rocks in the way, identify which way you want to go around them. Are you going to go around the left, or are you going to go around the right of them? Your number one priority when running a rapid and reading the water is to leave as much margin for error as possible. Margin for error means if you goof up, you should still have time to gather yourself together, roll up, or simply get the boat back online and get back to the feature you're going for, back to the next eddy. Some common mistakes people make with river reading and picking their line. Mistake number one is once they get in the rapid, even though they've picked the line, they're not looking at the eddy where they want to go or the obstacles in their way. Instead, what they're looking at is their bow. And they almost get hypnotized by looking at their bow. By looking at your bow, all you see is water going everywhere, waves crashing over your boat. You get lost and confused, and you never get to your target. Instead, what you need to always focus on is the target where you want to go. That's rule number one for running the rapid. Now, if you're just getting started in whitewater kayaking and you're a class 1-2 boater, one of the things you're going to find a little more difficulty is gauging the speed of the current and actually getting in the eddy you're looking for. But the good news is you're only in class 1 and 2 whitewater, which means the rapids you are in, you can probably run the whole rapid top to bottom without eddying out. When you eddy out in the middle of the rapid, it helps break the rapid down. However, until you get really good at eddying out or get more comfortable catching eddies, you should look at a line from the very beginning of the rapid all the way to the flat water pool at the bottom of it. That's going to be your easiest way. After you get a little more experience and you can start catching eddies and you're comfortable catching an eddy, not only catching it, but catching it near the top of the eddy. Remember, the top is the upstream side. Once you're comfortable with that, you're going to find that all of a sudden, wow, it's actually easier to break it down. Catch the eddy, stop, re-scout, read the water again. For the second time, pick your next eddy and eddy on down to the next one. We call that eddy hopping. We also call it breaking the rapid up. Both of those things will make the rapids easier as you get better at eddy hopping. We talked about rocks. Well, there's a lot of things we can do with a rock. We can go around a rock and straight down the river. We can go around a rock and catch the eddy behind it. Or if the rock's not very high out of the water, we can even paddle right over the rock. Those are three basic things that you might decide to do with the rock. When a rock is in the way, most of the rocks are high enough out of the water, they create an eddy behind it. So anytime you see a rock in the middle of the river, it's usually a good indication that you have the opportunity to eddy out behind it. But always remember that you also have the opportunity, if the rock is just barely out of the water, you have the opportunity to paddle over it. Now, what's the beauty of paddling over a rock that's just barely under the water? The beauty is that behind it will be an eddy, and it will dump you straight into the eddy. You don't actually have to make the eddy turn. It's actually a little bit easier. There's one thing you do need to be aware of with rocks. The rocks are usually somewhat rounded, so the corners of the rocks, there's going to be more water going over them. More water means more of a hole. So if you're going to be going really close to rocks, be aware that almost every rock on the corner has some sort of a hole. That hole isn't necessarily something that's going to mess you up if you're aware of it. But if you're not aware of it, you're going to go over, hit the hole, probably catch an edge and do a roll. So my recommendation is, if you don't have enough experience to know whether there's a hole in the corner of the rock, to go just wide enough that you end up going around the hole.